Hi, folks. Welcome in. I know folks are probably still connecting to audio a little bit, but I just wanted to make sure we were being cognizant of your time and our time, just to make sure that we're starting about the time that we mentioned. We've got a great kind of lineup in store talking about moving out, and all questions that you might have as far as residence life and housing, during the academic year. I think some of you have been with me before, but if you haven't seen me before, my name is Megan Hickey. I work with our Pacer Family programs here at William Peace University, and this is actually our last Pacer Family Night for the spring semester. It's pretty crazy. We're less than a week away from last day of classes, so congrats to your students and for you for making it almost through our spring semester. I bet it's exciting to kind of be near the end and be able to spend some time with them over the summer. I have with me Alex Huffer, who is our Director of Residence Life and Housing, so he'll be a great resource. And he's got a slide deck for you, kind of talking through some of those topics. We have time for questions at the end, but what I'll do if you have questions as Alex is talking, you can pop them in the chat. And if it's something where I can grab a link and share it with you all, I'm happy to do so. And then we'll kind of go from there. So I'll let Alex kind of introduce himself a little bit more, but thank you all for being with us. And Alex, thank you for being here with us today.
Absolutely. So again, my name is Alex Huffer. I am the Director of Residence Life and Housing here at William Peace. It is a pleasure to be here with you all. So again, as Megan said, I've got about a dozen slides, kind of walk you through what the remainder of the academic year is going to look like for my department and for your students on campus, and then also we'll look forward to next year and how we're going to approach housing assignments throughout the summer. So to begin with, the Office of Residence Life and Housing here at William Peace is made of four different staff members. You can see here on the main page that I am the least photogenic member of our staff. It has to be somebody, and I'm happy to take on that mantle. You can see on the left that I oversee day-to-day operations of residence life and housing. I oversee a lot of student conduct, which thankfully at Peace is very low. We are a very well-behaved and enthusiastic campus. I partner a lot to oversee operations out of Village Green and provide general oversight for the office and supervise our full-time staff. You can also see Cody over here on the left, over on my right, is going to be our associate director. Cody's going to oversee a lot of our programming initiatives. So a lot of the programming, the events, the conversations that they have with RAs, and then sort of that, like personal development stuff is led through Cody, who also supervises some full-time staff. The people that your students are going to interact the most with on our team are going to be Mary and Anthony. So these are area coordinators. Mary on the left is the area coordinator for first year activities, and Anthony on the right supervises all upperclassmen areas. So that's going to be Bingham, Finley, Fraser, Maine, and then their off-campus Village Green property. So they provide supervision and oversight to the RAs. They serve as hearing officers for conduct. They really work a lot on that programming stuff. And then they really also serve a lot of open hours in their offices just for drop-in conversations. So people who live on our campus, so Mary and Anthony live on our campus in downtown Raleigh 365 days a year and are very grateful for that opportunity. But that also means they're really in tune with our community and they're able to share those things with our students. So if your student is interested in perhaps a comedy show or some restaurant recommendations, Mary's very into that. And I think that Anthony goes to every possible event or video game festival, anything in Moore Square, he's always out and about. So if your students are ever unsure where to go, how to get involved, please speak with Mary and Anthony. We are quickly approaching, as I mentioned, the end of the year. So here are some exam week expectations that we've shared with all of our students. This has been posted in every single residence hall and emailed to your students. We're going to begin 24-hour quiet hours next week on reading day, which is the day immediately preceding quiet hours. So it's going to start at 8 a.m. and then we'll go through Wednesday, May 7th at noon. That's the time that the halls will ultimately close. So at that noon time on Wednesday, May 7th, all students who have not received prior approval are required to have vacated the hall. So graduating seniors and approved graduation participants must be moved out by Sunday, May 11th at 12 p.m. That's ultimately going to be the final call for anyone who is not a summer resident. During that time period, students are required to be respectful of their hallmates in the community, and they're all required to enforce those quiet hours together. Our expectation is that no student should hear sound in the hallway or from another room, because that best allows them to study and perform any like remote quizzes or tests or things of that nature as they prepare for their finals. And in that time period, if a student chooses to violate our noise policies, they can't be asked to leave campus, and we don't allow any overnight guests. There's just some general information that you should know about our expectations during finals week. After a student takes their final exam, we expect that they should leave within about 24 hours. If your student has a need to stay longer, perhaps there is a transportation arrangement or a difficulty, something maybe works out better for your family if your student's last exam is on Wednesday, but they prefer to leave on Saturday. I can work with that. Just let us know. Again, special permission, but they'll be expected to remain quiet and courteous and respectful of their classmates. They'll need to email their area coordinator no later than ideally Monday, April 28th. I'm sorry, we have an incorrect date here. So that'd be next Monday to request that extension. And residents participating in graduation, which is not the same as attending, but participating in graduation, again, can stay up until noon on Sunday, May 11th. Here's some quick checkout information. So students are, again, expected to check out 24 hours after their last final. If they have a transportation or a travel arrangement that requires them to stay longer than 24 hours, please email their area coordinator to let them know. We'll make some arrangements for that. But again, we discuss our behavioral expectations. So we do really encourage students to start cleaning, packing, and removing things to take them home now. We do say in our posters that we request the students, if they've lofted their beds, lower them to knee height. This is one that we don't enforce super strongly. I'm going to be very upfront about that. If your student has lofted their bed, if it is above approximately their sternum, I ask that they lower it. We want to make things a pretty reasonable height, but if it is anywhere between their knees and again, the average man's sternum, I'm okay with that. So don't worry too much about the knee thing. We do tell students though that if they leave trash, waste, or damage, they will be billed for that. Uh, we charge about $25 per bag of trash. And then there are also fees and fines for damages. So that would be holes, missing furniture, things that require painting or replacement of flooring, things of that nature. Um, your student, if they see damage in a shared space, we really encourage them to talk to their roommates and cottage mates and come to a determination about how they want to handle that. So by default, my office, when we go through and we assess damages at the end of the school year, we will email your student to say, this is what we've assessed in your space and this is how we plan to bill you. Our default is to bill a space evenly. So if Megan and I are roommates and there is damage in our room, Megan and I would split that cost 50-50. As a department, I do recognize, though, that sometimes maybe Alex caused all the damage and Megan is an innocent bystander. So in that case, I would expect for Alex to email me and say, hey, I caused that damage. And then I would bill Alex the full damage and not bill Megan any at all. Hopefully that makes sense. That's the thing that we hope your students discuss with their roommates so we can make sure we're billing fairly. And then down here in Village Green, again, everything in the common area will be billed 3 ways. And then everything in the individual bedrooms will be billed entirely to that student. Village Green is a place that we really do have to be very, very clean when we leave. If your student is living at Village Green, I strongly encourage them to speak with Anthony about the fines list. The fines out there can rack up very quickly, so we want students to leave that as pristine as they possibly can. Students at this point do have a checkout form either attached to their door or will be there very shortly. Your student is required to leave that form on their door when they leave. It is a list of all the things that they need to do. So effectively, when they're prepared to leave their room for the last time, if they look at the front of that, it's a final checklist. Did I do these things? If you did them all, sign at the bottom, leave it on your door. That tells my staff as we go through at the very end of the year, if there are 2 signatures on the door, then that means we can freely enter that space as opposed to knocking and waiting and knocking and waiting and then knocking and then entering. As you can imagine, as we enter approximately 700 rooms in 3 or 4 days at the final week, if we can avoid the knocking, it saves us a lot of time. So that's ultimately the purpose of those. It provides a final checklist for your student and lets us enter. So please sign and leave those up when you leave. We have here some additional checkout procedures. So when your student has fully removed all their things from the room, they've signed the form on their door, they're going to come to the Office of Residence Life and Housing located on the first floor of Main Hall, all the way around the corner past Public Safety. If we are open, come on in. We have red carpet. All 4 of us are in there. Very friendly people. We have all sorts of candy and toys. Can't wait to give them away to you. We will have the checkout envelopes. We'll take your student's key, collect their information, and send them on their way. It takes about 3 minutes. If we are not there, the envelopes will be on the back of our door in a plastic envelope. You cannot miss them. They will be eye level. They're going to be right there. Your student will fill the thing out and slide it underneath our door. When we get there at 9 a.m. the next morning, we'll collect the entire pile and we'll process all of them on the spot. Either option is totally fine. In either option, if a student is found to have damages in their room, they still have the opportunity to appeal. It changes nothing on their end. It is only they put it under the door or give it to us. When the student is gone, residence life staff will then evaluate the space and determine if there are any damages. If your student is particularly concerned that there may be damage in the space that they want us to that they want us to look at and let them know if we think they would be billed. So if your student wants to attend their final walkthrough, they are welcome to do so. They'll just want to schedule that in advance with their area coordinator, ideally between the hours of 9 and 4:30, which are our office hours. Past that is when we have to use that envelope under the door method. So some final reminders, 24-hour quiet hours start at the reading day, the day before finals week. If a bed is bunked, please bunk them. Keep it at about knee height to sternum level. Again, we're pretty generous on what knee height means here. Please schedule and arrange your transportation to get home. We want you to travel safely between Peace and whatever your destination for the next 3 months is. Please take all of your trash and belongings outside. Dispose of them, take them home with you appropriately. Again, my office will bill a student approximately $25 per bag or large item that we remove. It's just cheaper for your student to remove it themselves. When they leave, again, checklist on the back of the door, make sure we're leaving the bathroom clean, turning off the lights. And failure to follow our processes can result in charges on the student account. If your student is living with us for next year, again, a quick little look forward. Housing assignments will be sent to WPU email addresses over the summer. I sent the initial notification today, which is based off of every application I'd received up until 10 a.m. yesterday morning. So those assignments will adjust and change as the semester goes on, and your student will receive multiple assignment emails as we make changes, as people choose to come, leave, specifically request special roommates. Those will ultimately finalize around August 1st. Again, we will provide as many updates as we can. We encourage your students and their roommates to work together about what are they going to bring as they live together for the next academic year. Please don't bring two TVs. If you could just share one, I think that's easier. It's more financially friendly. And honestly, is you have limited space. So sometimes it's nice to share. Move-in day for next year. Super excited to welcome all of our Pacers back on Saturday, August 16th from 10 a.m. till noon. And those move-in details, specifics are going to be sent again with those assignment emails over the summer. But that is when we're expecting to welcome our students back. Our contact information is here, residencelifeatpeace.edu. Our emails are monitored by 4 of us. The phone calls come to all 4 of us. We're a very responsive office. Please call or email us anytime. We'll get back to you as soon as possible. There is no question too small to be asked. We will always answer your questions for you. And that's sort of where I'm at. So if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them for you. I'm going to quickly look here. Megan did say that she received a couple of questions. So I'm going to answer them as you think for a moment. Uh,
I
so
will, I will say, Alex, we did have one question in the chat if you want to start with that one.
absolutely. I can't see the chat and
I
I'm
can
not
read it. I can
confident
read
enough
it
to
to
see.
you. No worries. So, what if your student's roommate moved out during winter break? Are they still assessed for half of damages?
It depends on what the specific damage is. Um, Generally, we would still assess that in 50/50. Obviously, we still go through the full appeal process, but one of the things we do consider is the student has, I want to make sure I give you the most accurate description of this process as possible. Ideally, we will bill your student no more than 50% if it occurred during the fall semester. There is a slim possibility that when the initial charge letter comes out, that your student may initially be billed 100% because we are human and we do make mistakes sometimes. If your student is charged full price for a damage that occurred in the common space during the fall semester when they had a roommate and the roommate is no longer here, your student should appeal the damage, stating that they had a roommate and it was a common space, and I will reduce that charge if we make an error, because the appropriate thing would be to be charged 50% if they had a roommate when the damage occurred. Megan, did I answer that question clearly?
I think so. And I'll say like Alex has kind of expressed that like if there is kind of a question about that, kind of expressing it through like the channels of either, an email or a phone call, we can always, retroactively have that conversation if there's an error.
Damage billing is a fairly lengthy process. And when we go through damage billing, your student will receive pictures of the specific damages that we noted, along with a monetary value assigned to that charge, and they're provided 5 business days to appeal. or they can provide an email of a very lengthy statement as much as they want to say what is the context in which this damage occurred if they do not feel financially responsible. And I personally review every single one of those appeals.
That was the only question that we had received in the chat. So if there's any other ones that you'd like to kind of cover.
Yeah, for sure. So the other ones that came in, we did get a question earlier about meal plans selected. So if a student selected one meal plan during housing application and then decide throughout the summer that they want a different meal plan, that happens all the time. So during the initial housing information that they receive today and everyone that they receive throughout the summer, there will be a link that allows them to update their housing application requests. So they'll be able to simply click on that link, sign into it, and say, hey, can I have this meal plan instead? I will make the change for them. That is a very simple and common change. I make it hundreds of times throughout the summer. So any sort of meal plan changes, if they have a new roommate that they want to live in, if they feel that maybe they don't want to live in the building they requested, use that update. I was asked, and then 3 questions about our off-campus Village Green apartments. So the first one of this was just, can information about the off-campus apartments be offered? So if this person is in the call right now, I would love to know what your specific questions are if I don't answer them as I go through the others. But loosely, our off-campus Village Green Apartments is approximately 3 miles away, immediately next to the State Farmers Market. We have an entire building of 3-bedroom apartments that is only occupied by Peace students. So the students are living through us on a 10-month contract. They move in with our residential students on August 16th. They move out in May. So these are our on-campus students effectively. We do not provide transportation, so your student is responsible for their own transportation to and from Village Green to campus. And as it is on campus, a student living at Village Green is still required to have a meal plan. Students living in off campus do have RAs off campus. There are 4 RAs that live off campus, and there is also a full-time professional staff member from William Peace who lives on location, and there are multiple full-time staff members from Village Green who also live on location. So that area is well monitored and supported. They receive all the same resources and attention that our 15 East Peace campus students do as well. Campus security does not particularly cover the off-campus apartments. So the question here was, does campus security cover the off-campus apartments? For instance, if a student has a safety or security issue or concern where their first point of contact be campus security. So that would be no. So campus security traditionally supervises the 15 East P Street location. So if a student has an immediate safety concern, the appropriate call would be to 911 or Raleigh Police Department. If there are other types of concerns like facilities concerns about maybe the door is not locking or shutting appropriately, they can contact either Village Green, their RAs, or my office. My office is well practiced at working with Village Green to make sure that we make any repairs or safety concerns that we need to address, but emergency response is handled by the city of Raleigh. If a student has like a break-in or damage to their vehicle. So if a student just generally needs support from police, we do actually ask that they would talk to our campus security at that point. So several members of our campus security, so our public safety department, are either retired or very experienced police officers in the city who have then come to work with us at William Peace. And so recognizing that like working with police can be intimidating, if your student ever just needs to make a police report, so again, maybe something got stolen, came up missing, damage to their car somewhere, we do ask them to talk to our public safety. We will then call Raleigh PD to come to campus and take a report on location, but we do like to support our students in that area when possible. And then I was also asked, for students in off-campus apartments, is there a designated parking location for them on campus? And so for our off-campus apartments students, they are considered off-campus commuter students for parking purposes at 15 East Peace Street. So a student who lives off campus through Peace at Village Green will receive a Village Green parking permit and a William Peace commuter permit, which allows them to park in either the main lot or the gravel lot behind the building with the rest of commuters and staff. And those were the questions I was asked. I hope if there are more questions about Village Green, please ask them in the chat for me here.
This was a question that was received, but I'll clarify here and then I'll kind of share it out when I share this recording. But someone had asked the question of the timing of when folks can move out. So I know, Alex, you kind of clarified that, but if you want to clarify it one more time as far as move out is concerned, and then for folks on this call, and for folks that are watching this recording retroactively, that will be shared in the email that I send out with the recording as well.
Yes. I can't see chat though, so could you repeat for me what that question about the timing was?
Just clarifying like move out. So like I put it on the family portal as like it's 6 p.m. on this deadline. And so just clarifying for y'all, like what's the best timing for move out? Yeah. So, and I know Alex kind of talked about it, but essentially for everyone, the student is typically going to be moving out within 24 hours after the last exam. On the family portal, I just kind of had it as a blanket listing in terms of exams last from this date till this date. And so that's going to be kind of where that expectation lies, but I'll re-clarify that in the portal as well.
Yes.
Um,
I was
I'll
hoping I could find it written down, recognizing that sometimes I'm not always clear. Again, 24 hours after the final exam, our hard deadlines are noon on Wednesday, May 7th for non-graduates and students not participating in graduation, noon on Sunday, May 11th for students participating in graduation.
Yep. And I don't have any other questions that showed up for folks that registered. And then for our folks that are here, does anyone else have any other questions for Alex? And you're welcome to unmute if that's easier than putting it in the chat. Totally fine if not. Typically, if there's any questions that come up, you can either email me at pacerfamily@peace.edu or emailing our Residence Life folks. Can you go to that slide, Alex?
Absolutely.
So residencelife@peace.edu, and there's a phone number that you can call if there are any questions that come up. And then I will do another plug for my sweet finish to the semester care package that I'm offering to students. I think some of you actually have already purchased one, but I'm going to be purchasing all of those items for our students in for LDOC. So if there are any of you that haven't already purchased a care package, you can purchase one through Sunday, I believe. So wanted to mention that. And if any other questions come up, don't hesitate to contact us. Thank you all for being here and have a great rest of your evening.